we're heading somewhere for lunch, and Moose is taking us somewhere else afterwards. It's got a photo hide with potentially some other cool birds. So
Musa then took us to a restaurant which was very close to the Senegal border.
Dodos, I don't know the name of the place. It's a seafood restaurant, and just in front of me I'll show you there's loads of pelicans in really close, and they're near all the boats, because there's boats and there's pelicans, and over on the other side of the river is Senegal. It is water, you're right. Safe, eh? Give me a smile, like you're enjoying yourself. Yeah, there's a few holes in the floor, like there, and there, and there, and some over there. Over there is really bad. You got through it though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Here's made in it. We are sharing. And here's some curried fish. I presume it's probably butterfish or ladyfish. And that's lobsterific.
After this wonderful eating experience, we took a drive. This drive was towards a forest where Musa had built a bird photograph hide. He'd had some funding from some people from the Netherlands, but he'd built the hide himself. This hide was deep in some woodland. After driving down a particularly sketchy road through some woods, we got to the hide, went inside. It was reasonably quiet initially, but some birds showed up, like this little green bull, a flock of village weavers, the reasonably common, or it seemed to be in this environment, blue spotted wood dove, and an awesome female red-bellied paradise flycatcher. Kaylee really loved this bird. It was flitting in and out of some bushes in front of us, and occasionally dropping in the water for a brief drink. One rare bird we had a brief glimpse of was the grey-headed bristlebill. Not great footage, I'm sorry. And a male and female western bluebill. These are very pretty birds. The female with a red tummy and then underneath black and white spots, and the male bolder red, darker back. These birds were super and stuck around in front of the hide for a while, although not coming down for a drink. One other bird that seemed pretty regular here was the African thrush. This had been a really enjoyable day, with many birds seen.
So, the end of a full day's birding with Musa. We've seen a lot of different birds. Most of them are lifers for Kaylee. I've had even a few lifers for me, which is good on a fourth visit to Gambia. So we've been to Kartong, which was awesome. And this place that I can't remember how to say, so Moose is going to say it.
It's called Winju Konok Forest, and this is obviously my photo hide.
Yeah.
That's the my photo hide, and it's sponsored by the people. Rose Maria, Adu and Pink. Nice dog meat for there. Yeah, so that is good behind there. So we tried a lot of different kind of birds, yeah? Which is very interesting.
So that is the pool that Moose was talking about. He built the photo hide and the pool himself, and he had some money donated from some Dutch folk that he was giving guides to. So that's excellent. There's Moose and Kaylee get back to the car. We've got a full day's birding. We started off at 7 o'clock this morning. It's now 5 o'clock. So we're all pretty bushed. Time to go back.
When we got back from our full day's birding, I thought it was a good idea to go back and do another half hour's birding before it went dark. And I found some more Herdada ibis and a distant and shaky view of a male painted snipe. These birds are a bit like phalaropes, quite unusual, with the female being more brightly coloured than the male.
Hey folks, we've had such a long day. We decided to eat at a restaurant and hotel, which is called the Captain's Table. which is pretty good actually. We've just had a chicken Aviary, which is a Gambian dish. We've shared it with the two restaurant cats. We've named chicken and yassa.
So I've been sharing my dinner with this little sausage. Yes, so we called her chicken, and there's another cat with her, which we think might be her daughter, who we called Yassa.
If you guys can hear this excessively loud frogs.
Good morning folks, it's windy in the car. We are headed with our taxi driver Best Man, who's obviously the best taxi driver in the Gambia. We're headed towards the Banjul Barra ferry, and we're heading eventually to Kunta Kinte Island, which is a big piece of history here, and a piece of their heritage that they call roots. So I'll get as much footage as I can safely. See you there. This was the first time I'd been to Banjul other than coming to and back from the airport. We drove through the city under the famous Arc 22, which was a famous bit of architecture in Banjul, and headed towards the Banjul ferry. I don't know how, but Best Man knew the right people to speak to get us onto the ferry with less stress. And soon we were sat up on the top deck of the ferry. This was a very cloudy morning and strangely cold, but there was plenty of action on the water, with these people going out on fishing boats. And on the ropes of some of the bigger ships were plenty of gulls, terns and this great white egret. We finally set off, going over the Gambia River, heading towards the opposite side and the town of Barra. When we arrived, there were plenty of people at the dock, and there was bedlam on our boat, everyone bustling to try and get off. After the captain eventually parked the ferry, there was a lot of trying to get it straight beforehand. The bedlam ensued, with cars and people pushing and shoving to get off the ferry. We decided it'd probably be a good idea for us to wait until some of this madness had stopped. We then walked through some of the mayhem of Barra to find our taxi driver.
Hey? A bit of culture in the video, don't you? Hello.
It's raining.
Yeah, we're in Barra. There's Best Man, and there's the good lady wife. This place is mental, and the most weird thing is, it's raining in the Gambia. Wacky. Once back on the road, driving through the countryside and the town, we found some distinct differences between the side of the river we're staying on and this side of the river. Here it seemed a little poorer, but there seemed to be less litter and it seemed to be much greener. Upon arriving at the Kunta Kinte complex, we were greeted by a guide who talked to us about some of the amazing history of Kunta Kinte and the island that was once called James Island. We then, after a look at a small museum, took a trip down to where our boat was taking us over to the island. There were some pieces of history along the way, like this amazing monument, which is supposed to promote equality. Here's Best Man, our taxi driver, and me with Best Man. There's equality if you ever saw it.
So in true Gambian spirit. In true Gambian spirit. That's the boat we've got to get on. It'll be fine. He seems more convinced than I am. It was capsizing a minute ago. As long as it doesn't capsize where? Out there.
Whilst Kaylee was worrying about getting on the boat, I did a little bit of bird watching and saw initially some turnstone, which again are European vagrants, and on the boats were some western reef herons. The boats seemed to be a pretty good vantage point for fishing. There was some livestock on the beach, but now it was time for us to try and get on the boat. The ladders down to the boat were pretty rickety and didn't seem so safe.
How do you feel about this, darling? How do you feel about it? It's just a set of stairs. You're okay?
So Kaylee, after refusing to go down the ladders, the boat driver kindly pulled up on some rocks at the other side of the pier. And after a little bit of help, we were both on the boat heading over to Kunta Kinte Island. It's quite a short journey, which is good because the boat was only small. But along the way, we had some views of bar-tailed godwit and royal tern. This is us coming into Kunta Kinte Island. Yes, it is sped up. The boat driver wasn't quite that fast. When we got to Kunta Kinte Island, there was a lovely little wooden pier. It was very picturesque walking up to it, but this was bittersweet. When we got onto the island, we learnt about some of the horrendous atrocities that had happened there. It was a piece of history that, although we'd like to forget, I think everybody needs to remember, so things like this don't ever happen again. The island was quite small and we moved around it reasonably quick. They are planning on extending the island with some funding, but the funding seems to have disappeared. That's African government.
Don't touch it.
Nevertheless, after watching some people fishing, we headed back onto the boat and back towards the bank. When we got there, we had a brief bite to eat. I spotted a couple of birds like this chestnut-bellied starling and some bronze-tailed glossy starlings, and then we headed back to the ferry. Whilst waiting for the ferry, Kaylee found this lovely motorbike. I didn't think she could ride. Anyway, back on the ferry, I saw some birds as we came into land, like this kelp gull, which was an amazing bird, a gull-billed tern in winter plumage, and yet more of those super black terns. It was an interesting trip. Although Kunta Kinte Island was fascinating, unfortunately we felt a bit rushed, but the rest of the trip was certainly a delve into Gambian culture and life, so never a wasted day. In the evening I was determined to get Kaylee to see these Hadada ibis, and after a walk we found them. Also, she got a brief view of a painted snipe as well, which was a lifer.
How terrible are you? I think you look good.
There's just nothing, you can't do anything with it, look at it.
Hey folks, it's our last night in the Gambia. Aww. So we're back at the Wild Monkey where we came for our first night when we were here. And going to enjoy the band when they start and the dances and such. A couple of beers and a beef bannockhin, which is a local dish.
Which is yummy.
It's yummy. So we have got some plans for tomorrow before we go on the aeroplane, so stick with us for that.
Looking out from our bedroom onto the lovely view, this was a view that had been missed. Went out and did a bit of birding on the golf course, which was near the hotel, and saw some red-billed hornbill, a very confiding malachite kingfisher which landed on a stone bridge in front of us, and a bird that I've been trying to find for Kaylee all week. This bird I'd seen here in the past, so I was pretty confident, and that was swallow-tailed beater. These birds are like rainbows that fly. This was amazing. Whilst walking, we bumped into some African wattled lapwing, and then further up the golf course we saw some people who apparently were in a running club, which in that heat seems a bit hard work to me. After walking past these people, I spotted a grey kestrel in a tree. And then into some brushland where there were some piggies. There was also some long-tailed glossy starling and a hornbill making a bit of a racket.
It's very hot today, hence why we look like we're just sweltering. This is our last twitch of the week. It's the morning we're leaving, so I've decided to take us out on Aviary golf course to try and find some birds. We've done okay so far. It's flies everywhere. We've done okay so far. We found swallowtail beads, which Katie was looking for, another lifer, and quite a lot of other birds as well. Last twitch though, sad, hey?
At the other side of the golf course there was a pool where there was plenty of African spoonbill and black heron. The black heron seemed pretty irritated that the spoonbill kept knocking it. So every time it put its wings over its head, a spoonbill bashed it and it looked back up again. Never mind. Also here was a sacred ibis fishing too. We headed to the craft market to see what they had. What they had was a very small little kitten that had apparently been abandoned, which was super cute. After buying a couple of pieces of clothing, we headed back to the hotel to kind of say goodbye, which was really sad. This is a hotel I've been to 4 times now, and twice with Kaylee. It's a beautiful place and I recommend it to anyone. It's called the Kotu Hotel on Kotu Stream. Rightly, the only place for us to go for breakfast now was Sailors. We had a wander down the beach, passing the hooded vultures that were feeding on the shore. These birds amaze me as they're critically endangered worldwide. Weirdly though, here there seems to be quite a number of them. Must be a final stronghold.
Last breakfast. We're back at Sailors, our favourite, well, usually our favourite lunchtime spot, but it's our breakfast time spot today because we're lunching elsewhere. So it's kind of a really kind of bittersweet goodbye to Gambia. It's an amazing country. Yeah, I'll show you the view in a minute. But yeah, we've got to get back to our girls. And about your David. And Jerry the mouse. I'll explain that later. See you later.
I tried to record Saini from Sailors talking about his restaurant, but it was too windy, so he sent me this voice message.
The Sailors Beach Bar, located at Aviary, is the best place to be. Yeah, because we have the best seafood so far around this end, and the best beach also. So come and try Sailors. You will never regret. This is the best place for everybody. Yes, thank you.
We're here on our last day, done our bit of twitching. We're here at the Botanical Gardens. No, it's okay. We're here at the Botanical Gardens. They put a lot of work into this place. I think it was funded, but it's no longer funded anymore. So they're just relying on donations from people. But it is absolutely stunning. So many plants from all different places. You can see Kaylee in the distance. Amazing, really cool, beautiful.
This is a garden that has been funded in the past by English people. It was opened in 1924. Unfortunately, the funding has gone, and I believe this is down to the people that were funding it passing. Ultimately, it was passed on to the Gambian government, who have basically done nothing, leaving this lovely garden to go to rack and ruin. It's such a shame because there seems to have been an awful lot of hard work put into it. We had a chat with the guy who was working there. He seems to look after the garden. He told us about some of the challenges he faces. If you're ever there, visit. They really need some support.
Yeah, that's the Botanic Garden. This garden was established in 1924 by the British as a field station if commercial crops are still struggling able to grow. Yeah. But then 18 years we are having a British couple. They were sponsoring for almost 18 years. 5 years back they stopped sponsoring, had it back to the government. But still the garden is here. We're still looking for any help from any good people who can do something, because now we still have a borehole problem. We are looking for help from any good people who can help. Yeah.
It's really nice. There's lots of cool plants and trees and such.
Different seasons.
Different stuff.
Yeah.
Come along, visit, support them.
I find it difficult to believe this was once owned by the British and is going to rack and ruin, while directly next door is the British High Commissioner's residence, which has a beautiful garden. Regardless, it was time for our last meal, so we headed back to Calypso restaurant. When we got there were some birds around, like this beautiful sunbird, which really lives up to its name. A pretty showy crocodile sitting with its mouth open in the pool, obviously waiting for its lunch. By the side of the pool there was a hammercock fishing, and on the little island were some gulls and royal terns sat all wandering into the water to take a drink. Also, there was a fishing pied kingfisher, which seemed quite apt as one of the last birds we saw. We also bumped into one of Moose's friends, another guide. He's based near Calypso Bar.
Yeah, I'm Dauda Kamara, officer guide, professional guide. Yeah, Awesome Bay. If you come out Awesome Bay Beach Hotel, you'll see me. And but they advertise myself also as a trip advisor. If you look at the trip advisor, you see me. Yeah.
Excellent. Hello everybody. We're just walking on the beach. It's like about an hour before, well, less than an hour before we're going to have to head off to our flight. We don't want to go, so we're heading back to Calypso Hotel. We just had a walk on the beach, and we're going the wrong way as well. Yeah, so we're heading that way, and then meeting our driver best man, aka Khalifa Bojang, and he's going to take us to the airport, and then it's homeward bound. So we really thank you for watching this video, or these videos. I don't know quite how I've edited it yet. There's probably a few of them, I would imagine, because we've got a lot of footage this week. Thanks.
Please like,
yeah. And please subscribe.
hit that notification button.
She's got it. See you back in the UK.
This was an amazing, stunning trip. We saw and experienced so many parts of Gambian life and wildlife too. We saw tons of birds. It was a great trip, and what an adventure. As far as the birds we saw, Kaylee really knocked it out the park with 72 lifers. This was her second visit to the country. I didn't fare quite as well with only 16, but this was my fourth visit. Regardless of the birds, which are amazing, the one thing that really gets me about this country is the people. This is something I miss every time I leave. Everyone is amazing. They're really welcoming, happy, helpful and friendly. Some of these faces are people that I'd met in the past, and some of them I hadn't, but all were amazing and so welcoming. This country, it does have its ups and downs. You need a sense of humour, but I do recommend you visit. It will open your eyes in more ways than you would imagine. Two people that I really need to thank. Firstly, Khalifa Bojang, or Best Man, who's our taxi driver. He was at our back and call all week and always delivered in a friendly, patient way. The other person is Musa Mane, who is the primary bird guide and someone I would always book if I was looking for birds in the Gambia. Again, extremely patient, knowledgeable and friendly. He's a good friend. So that was it. Thank you so much, Gambia. Until next time.